I believe that technology is the great equalizer for the African diaspora. Now, this may sound a little bit crazy, but let me tell you a personal story of mine to provide a little bit of context. On October 9th, 2015, a group of friends and I were in Atlanta for the A3C Music Festival, and we rented out a beautiful Airbnb. So beautiful, in fact, that the neighbors saw a bunch of black people in the house, thought we were robbing the place, and called the cops. Now, around 8 or 9, the cops arrived with their guns drawn, pointed at us because they were looking for criminals. All they found were a couple of musicians. But in that moment, my life flashed before my eyes. And not just my life, the life of young men like Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo, and countless others. And I knew that this situation could go one of two ways. Either really good or really, really bad. So in that moment, I decided to push things in a positive direction because, as Stitcher said, the dope in my name stands for driven on positive energy. So while things were going on, I said, you know what? I've got a pretty big following on Twitter. Let me document this just to kind of protect myself a bit and let people know what's going on as well. So while we were figuring things out and making sure that everything was okay, I asked one of the cops, I was like, hey, is it cool if we take a selfie together? And the cop said, yeah, sure, as long as you get my good side. So my friends and I, my friend Zali, and these two police officers came together and took this selfie. Now, it's funny now, but in the moment, it's kind of crazy. But this post went viral, super viral. And to be honest, I've got to shout out Black Twitter. Yeah, big shout out to Black Twitter. Yeah, make some noise for that. Because without Black Twitter, I know for a fact this post would not have gone as viral as it did, and it wouldn't have started the conversation that it did. In fact, it started the conversation so large that my brother ended up calling me, and he was like, son, you need to drop a mixtape. But I knew that there was a bigger problem, and not just a bigger problem, we had a bigger opportunity to solve that problem. And that's what led me to creating Noirbnb. Noirbnb is a home sharing platform where black people can travel and stay at dope places without worrying about being discriminated against. But I'm gonna be totally honest. I would never have even thought that I was gonna start a tech company like this. Never in my life. And it's the biggest thing I've ever done. Scares me sometimes, to this day. But I don't get scared for long. I like to prepare myself. So what I did was, I went back in time, and I did some research on some of our great black innovators, thinkers, and inventors. And I found many, but there were two that really stuck out to me. The first was Lewis Latimer. Lewis Latimer was a black man born in Massachusetts. He invented the carbon filament, an integral piece of the light bulb, Edison's light bulb. And not only that, he also helped to draw up the patents for Alexander Graham Bell's telephone. Imagine that. Without a black man, the telephone and the light bulb would not exist. But not just Lewis Latimer, I also learned about Dr. Shirley Jackson. Now, Dr. Shirley Jackson was not just the first black woman to receive her doctorate degree in nuclear physics. Her research also led to the caller ID, the portable fax machine, fiber optics, and many other things. But even after that, I decided to go even further back into our history, right? And I thought about incredible monuments like the pyramids in Egypt. Things that even today, modern engineers cannot figure out how they were constructed, right? And not just the pyramids in Egypt, you got pyramids in Sudan and incredible monuments all across the continent. And not just the continent, around the world, if we're being honest. But the fact of the matter is, we can't live in the past. We need to be inspired by the past and learn from the past to look toward the future, but act in the present. So I ask you all, what monuments will you build? What will you create that will last the test of time? But then I also ask you, what are some of the monuments of today? Now, they may not be physical like the pyramids, but they are digital. And all of us in this room use them. Monuments like Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, and many more. And why are these companies huge? Because they solve problems. They make life better. They make life easier. And that's what technology does. Apple, they took high-end technology with a beautiful user experience, put it together, and now a lot of us have iPhones. No diss to my Samsung users. Amazon, they made products cheaper, and now they get to your house next day, same day sometimes. And Facebook, they solved the problem of having to plan a high school reunion because I see what you guys do every day anyway, so forget that. But jokes aside, I gotta ask you, what monuments will you create? Because I'm not sure if you know this, but right now, there are 500,000 tech jobs available, empty, with nobody to fill them. Why? They don't have the skills. And I don't know about you, but I can think of a group of people who'd be good for a few of those jobs, right? But here's the fact of the matter. Like I said, technology solves problems. I'm gonna tell you right now, though, I believe that the next Steve Jobs can come from Jamaica or Haiti. The next Mark Zuckerberg could be right here in Fort Lauderdale, maybe in Atlanta or Harlem or Oakland. The next Jeff Bezos might be in Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia. So again, I ask you, what monuments will we build? Because technology makes life safer, faster, more fun and better, who deserves that more than us? And who is better to solve our problems than ourselves? So once again, I ask you, what monuments will you build? What problems will you solve? What legacy will you leave behind? So, think about that. My name is Stefan Grant, and I've been waiting to say this for a really long time, but thank you for coming to my TED Talk.